team leader, owner of Pineapple Homes. Today we're covering one of our masterminds. So for those of you who have been here before, thank you for coming again. For those of you that are new, congratulations. I hope you like it. If not, that's fine too. So today's a little different. We're actually going to be doing, it's a little bit more of a business planning session and not just me talking. So first of all, does everybody have a packet? Is there anybody that doesn't have a packet? My man. Come on. Thank you, Lexi. You're so fast. All right, so everybody open up your packet to the very first page. Look at this. This is the schedule. Can everybody do me a favor and see where it says July in the middle there? Does everybody see that? I'm going to have you go ahead and just put an X through that. There will be no classes in July. I'm going on vacation, so you won't be able to reach me. I don't know yet, but I'm leaving. So, there won't be anything here. Do not come here in July. Got it. Next page. You're going to see lead sources on the front and the back of this. Make sure everybody has this. It's important. Then, on the next page, you're going to have business objectives. This is going to be your personal business plan. So again, today's a little different. We're building your business plan. Does everybody understand that we're not building my business plan? We're building your business plan. So raise of hands if we're building your business plan today. It's everybody. Kathy, raise your hand. We're building your business plan, Kathy. Got it. And then on the back, you see where it says source and cost. This is where we're going to build your business budget. So has anybody ever built a home? Question. Who here has built a house before? All right, well, lesson you're going to learn when you build a house or you hire an architect, you're going to go meet the architect and you're going to tell them all of these things that you want. I want this, and I want a sauna, and I want a steam room, and I want a cold plunge, and I want an infinity edge swimming pool. And the architect, what are they going to do? They're going to design it, and they're going to build it, and they're going to create all of these amazing plans. And you are going to be really, really excited, just like I was. And you're going to take those plans, and you're going to walk down to your general contractor, and you're going to say, all right, here is what we're going to build. And the general contractor is going to rub his hands and be like, this is amazing. And you're going to be like, why? And he's going to say, well, that means this is going to be a payday for me. And you're like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, this is going to cost about $3.5 million. And you're going to say, well, my budget was about $300,000. Well, what can we build for $300,000? And he's going to say, well, not this. And so then you're going to go back to your architect, and you're going to say, okay, I've got some words from the contractor. We can't build any of this, and we need to go from a 5-bedroom to a 1-bedroom, and the pool and the steam room and the sauna's got to go, and we've got just enough room for a little bitty kitchen, maybe. And then they're going to say, well, okay. And then you're going to take the plan back to the general contractor, and he's going to say, it's still more than you expected, but we can make this work. So with that being said, we need to design a business plan that also fits what? The budget. And because for every real estate business planning class I've ever attended in my life, which is probably about 40 of them, none of them ever talk about the budget. I'm like, okay, well, maybe we should start with the budget, and then we should build the plan. Does that make sense? So, at the top of your main business objective, I want each person to write a number, and then I want them, after the word number, or after the number, you're going to write units. So right now, we're going to set a goal for how many units you are going to close between now and the next rolling 12 months. Okay, do that now. So how many units are you going to sell? Because we're not doing it till the end of the year, because right now it is March, and your business, your production stops in, sorry, Nico, your production stops in November. Why does your production stop in November?
Holidays.
Well, that too, but whatever you put under contract on November 15th and on, what happens? When does that close? 2024. Yeah, so really we've got until technically we're middle of March, so we've got March, April, May, June, July, August, September, all of September into October, and then November. So we've got 9 months, 8 to 9 months left of production. And so we're not going to make a whole business plan for 8 months worth of work. We're going to make a 12-month business plan. So at the top, just write from today's date, which is what, the 15th, 13th? from 13 to March 13, 2024. And then write your unit goal. All right, I want to hear some unit goals. What do you got, Lex? 12 units. Okay, I like that. One a month. What about you, John?
100.
Okay, 100 units. I like that. He's not joking.
Not enough.
It's not enough. I know. Never is.
150.
It never is. What do you got back up there in the hat? 3. Okay, we got to pump those numbers up. Let's double that for me. Ryan? 22. Okay, does anybody have, other than John, does anybody have a number bigger than 22? Gary, what do you got? 30. I like that. Does anybody have more units on 30? All right, 30 is our highest. All right, cool. So now we know how many units you're going to sell. Now everybody, right next to that, write down what your average price point today is. If you've never sold a home in your entire life, write the number 500,000, 500K. 550, there you go. 800, if your average price point is 800, do 800. Turn on my mic, thank you, dear. So now we know how many units we want to do. We know our average price point. But here's the next question. Where does that business come from, Chris? Yeah, well, it comes from the production that you make. So if you own a business, which you all own a business here, right? We're all business owners in this room. Everybody shake your head for me. Yes. When you own a business, you should know where your business comes from. If you are going to go make a farm selling coffee beans, you should know who the people that buy coffee beans are. Would that make sense to know who that is beforehand? If you are going to sell boats, you should know who's buying boats and where they get sold at. If you're making cars, you should know who the car dealerships are. And so for us, we need to know where the sources of our business come from. Because I promise you, no matter how much you sit next to your phone and wait for it to ring, you will not get people calling you to help buy or sell homes if you just wait. Has anybody had a wrong number that you actually closed the house on? Has anybody ever had that? You ever had that, John? I might have had that once. I'm trying to remember. I can't think of it though. But point is, nobody's going to call you by accident and accidentally sell a house. So we need to determine where this business comes from. So everybody, where it says 1, 2, 3, you're going to write number 4 in the bottom. For that very first line, I'm going to have you write the letters S-O-I. Chris. It's not. You guys run a business together now? You guys co? Anyway. All right. And then where it says 3 goals, I'm actually cross out the word goals and write sources for me. Okay, so we know the very first source of your business should be SOI. What does SOI stand for? Sphere of influence, yes. Yes, SOI, sphere of influence, COI, center of influence, it doesn't matter, database, whatever you want to call it, data bank. These are your friends. These are your family. These are your past clients. These are people you meet at networking events. These are people that are your neighbors. These are people that know you, like you, and trust you. Or at the very least, they know you. Our goal is to eventually get them to like you and trust you. They may not like you and trust you yet, but we'll get there. There's ways we do that. Then, you guys have to decide what your next 3 sources of business are. So here's my question. If you have one really, really good source of business, that is like trying to balance a broomstick or a chair on one leg. Little challenge. It can be done, I guess. There's people that do it. This is at the circus, yeah? We're not running a circus, though, are we? That's not what this is. This is a business. If you are trying to balance a chair on 2 legs, probably a little bit easier, but probably a little unstable. If your entire business is structured on 2 legs, you're going to have a hard time. And if you have 3, then you could probably comfortably sit on it, and you'll do okay. And if you have 4, you can get on that thing and you can dance on top of it. And that thing will spit off money because that is what businesses do. And so you want to make sure you have 4 strong quality sources of business. Now we know the very first one is an SOI. That should be a groundwork, that should anchor to the ground, that should always be a constant provider of business, of transactions. You guys are going to take 5 minutes. You're going to go to this front page. Under lead sources, I put some examples. SOI, past clients, open house, online leads, farming, referral networks, direct mail, cold calling, door knocking, expired listings, for sale by owners, expireds. Could be a specific networking event. So everybody take 3 minutes and write down where you want your business to come from. Could be it really doesn't matter. There is no wrong way to get business. Some sources take more time and less money. That's a little bit of sweat equity. Some sources take a lot of money and no time. That's check equity. You're spending money to buy business. Nothing wrong with it. You probably want to have a combination of both. Some things should take a certain amount of time, some things should take a certain amount of money, and you want to balance the two. So everybody should be writing down sources of business right now. And what I recommend too is don't feel like you can't change it. Write down a couple sources. Work it for 6 months. Maybe you'd learn that you hate door knocking. I do not love door knocking. I will go door knocking. I will do it to support the people in my company that I work with, to show them how to be really good at it. I have door knocked. Anybody know the neighborhood Ocean Point? Yes. I have door knocked every single home in Ocean Point. And every door, I hated it. I hated every door. I didn't love it. I know many agents that have built an entire business on door knocking for 1 hour a day. That's not my hour. And that's fine. Didn't love it. So let's hear, what are some ways you guys want to grow and build your business? I want to hear from you guys. Ryan, what do you got? Sources of business for yourself. Can we hear them?
Yes.
Social media? Okay, that's a great one.
My website.
Website, online lead generation, love that. When you say website, is that like advertising? Is that blog posting? Is that
Yeah, blog posts.
blog posting? Okay, cool.
Advertising.
Yeah, that's a whole niche. I love it. There should be more people doing that actually. What else? What do you think, John? John's a lender, just so you guys are aware, so it's a little bit different how he gets business.
Of course, that's a lot. I have referral networks, social media marketing, similar to, I said, past clients.
Okay, so SOI, past clients, referrals, and I mean all of those I've put similar, but you do different activities. And then what was the fourth one? Social media marketing. Nice. What else? What do you got? Hey, Google Ads, yeah. Yeah, pay-per-click or Google Lead Service Ads, amazing source of business, yeah. Now that's a source, that's an example of a little bit of cost, not terribly expensive. I mean, you're gonna spend anywhere from $3 to $50 per click or per lead, depending on what you're doing. But you're also spending a little bit of time to follow up. It does take a certain amount of nurturing. What else? What else do you guys have?
Postcards.
Postcards, yeah, that's a great one. What do you think, Mel?
Online leads, Zillow, direct mailing, side.
Yep. Nice. Nice.
What about your church?
Church, yeah, that's kind of part of SOI, but you could really branch out and make that a big part of your business. All right, so everybody has 4 sources of business, is that right? Beautiful. Now, each one of these sources is going to have a different strategy. We're not going to just write it down and automatically start getting business. That's not quite how it works. I wish it was that easy. So we're going to go through some strategies to capture and convert these lead sources. Now keep in mind, you have lead acquisition. That is the job of getting somebody into your network, into your database, into your CRM. You need to get them into your CRM before you can convert them. Would everybody agree with that? You can't convert people that you don't know their names and numbers to. That's just not how it works. So at a certain point in time, you will have to have a conversation with these people. There's no way getting around this. I'm so sorry. You have to talk to them. So we have to talk to people. We are in a people business. It is a contact sport, as I call it. You have to have contacts and conversations. So let's go through the strategies for your SOI. So do you see here in this little column? The very first thing that we should be doing with our sphere of influence, I'm going to have you right next to it. We're going to segment this database. The purpose of segmenting is we want to assign a value on people that are more important and less important. Would everybody agree that some people are more likely to buy a home than other people? Yeah, it makes sense, right? If you go down, I think I said this, if you go down to the local elementary school and start handing out your business cards, how many of them are going to buy a house from you? Probably none. But if you go down to your local BNI, Chamber of Commerce, where there's probably a lot of other agents, very likely that some of them will do a transaction or know people that will do a transaction in the next 12 months. So we know that about 2.5% of your database is going to either buy or sell a home this year. Meaning, out of 1,000 people, 25 of them are going to transact. Now, it does depend on your audience and where they come from. If you're still in college, there's going to be a lot less people. If you're experienced and part of a general contracting guild, there's going to be a lot more of them. So what we want to do is we want to segment your SOI, your database, into A's and B's. Here's what an A player sounds. Here's what an A database, A SOI sounds like. They've either done business with you, they will do business with you, meaning they're the type of person that they've talked about, they'll work with you, or they have referred you business. Those are our A players. We like them. They drive the crankshaft of your business. And if you don't have them, and if you're not constantly reminding and rewarding, what do I mean by rewarding them based on their actions, you will not get a lot of business. What does it mean to reward your database? What do you got, Kathy? Okay, put it this way. If you want to, it sounds bad when you put it like this. If you want to teach a dog a new trick, what do you have to do? Yeah, positive reinforcement. So when your database sends you a referral, do we just say, hey, thanks, Chris, I'll let you know? And that's it? That's it? They sent you a buyer, possibly to make anywhere from 10 to 20,000. This client sent you 20 grand, and you just said, hey, thanks. If I came up to you right now and gave you $20,000, put it on your desk and say, have a great day, would you just say thanks and walk? Probably. You'd probably just say, I need to get out of here before he takes it back. But if somebody did that for you, you'd probably be a little bit more than just, hey, thank you. So how do you reward your database? How do you reward the activities that you want? There's a website called Maui Gold Pineapples, and you can go on and send an individual pineapple to somebody. It's like $40. They'll mail it, ship it, put in a cute little note, everything. Every single referral I get gets one of two things, either a pineapple or from that same website, or a bottle of pineapple vodka from the same website. They make it on Maui. Just depends on who they are. Yeah, if it's a Mormon client, I'll probably send them the pineapple. We have them, yeah. So now we know the SOI-A and SOI-B. Now B people, these are people that you know them. They know you. If you saw them at the store, you would recognize each other. But you'd call yourself nothing more than acquaintance. You met them once or twice in passing. You're like, you kind of run in the same circles, but they're not sending you business. They're not asking you questions about properties. They're not relying on you for information. So we have two goals. One, we want to keep the A's doing the A things, and what do we want to do with the B's? We want to get them into the A's. Yeah, we want to get the B's to be the A's, and we want to keep the A's as A's. And so how do we do that? And then, okay, so that's nurturing, right? So we have acquisition. They've got to come from somewhere. Everybody starts off as a B no matter what. Assuming it's SOI. We'll get to leads in a minute. They start off as a B, and then eventually maybe they become an A the more time and the more effort you put into your relationship with them. And so, with our A's, here's the very first strategy. One-on-ones. You got to get in front of them. It doesn't matter how you get in front of them. But you have to meet them face to face, belly to belly. You have to spend actual time with them. Not just like a quick phone call. So what are some ways we as real estate agents and brokers can invite them to spend time together that's not weird? Lunch? Yeah, that's an easy one. Lunch. What else?
Beach cleanup.
Beach cleanups, events, yeah. Personal events, that's a great way to give one-on-one time to people. What else? Oh, come on, we got way more than that. What else we got? David Wong, what else can we do with our SOI?
Golf.
Invite them to golf. Perfect, that's a great activity. What else, David? Invite them to play pickleball or tennis. Yeah, no problem. What else? Invite them to your birthday party. Heck yeah, Kathy. I want to come. I wasn't invited. Either way, we need to spend time with these people. And if you're not spending time with them, guess what? Somebody else is. And that person is going to make money. And you are not. And then you are going to be the agent that calls them finally a year later and they say, hey, do you want to come to my housewarming party? I just bought a new house. And then you're the agent that sounds like this. Well, why didn't you use me? And then they say, well, you never call. This other agent called me all the time, invited me to a beach cleanup, did this. I went rock climbing with him. He was great. Gave me advice. Yeah, well, you never did that. Have anybody ever been in that position? That position sucks. So this is how you not only run a business, because keep in mind, this is a business. This is how you generate consistent referrals, face-to-face. Every single A player in your book, you need to spend at least an hour with in person once a year. It's not that much. The whole reason I joined this club is because I used to sit at that table right there for 5 hours every Thursday, and every hour on the hour I would have somebody new showing up for lunch. I told the waiter to bring me like a quarter of the lunch, like I would order like a papaya salad or something, and just break it up in small portions. And every time they would sit down, we would order, just give me like half a salad or something like that. And they knew, because I didn't want to just invite somebody over and then I just watch them eat. That's weird. Yeah, sorry. But you have to have something, and that's what I would sit there, and every Thursday I would have 4 or 5 meetings, sometimes like 7. And that's all I would do every Thursday. And I will tell you, that probably became more business, more volume, than anything I've ever done. And it cost $70 a week, $50 a week. Back then it was like $30 a week because it was super cheap. Strategy number 1. Okay, so next strategy with your SOI, what do we have to do? So we figured out we need to get in front of our A players. We're nurturing them. But we also need to make sure we have acquisitional sources. We need to make sure we're constantly adding new people to this list. And this is where networking events come in. You need to have something. 1, 2, ideally 3 places where you're constantly meeting new people all the time. Because if you're not meeting new people, and all you're doing is staying in touch with the same 100 or 200 people, you're never really going to grow your business. You're never going to scale it quickly. You're always going to be stuck doing 2 to 4 or 5, 6 units a year at the very most. And that sucks. Because the first 4 transactions of your career, of your business, a year, that just covers expenses. To operate the business itself, it's not free to be a licensed broker. It does cost money and a certain amount of time. Your first couple deals will just barely pay for that. And so we need to make sure that you're doing 8, 10, 12 deals every single year. Otherwise, you're really never going to have money to invest into other sources. You're never going to be able to buy investment properties. I'm sure nobody wants to be doing an open house when they're 94 years old, do they? I can't imagine. Do you want to be the guy that dies at an open house? That sucks. It's like, imagine you're a buyer and you walk in and you see this like handsome picture on a for sale sign. It's like, oh, this agent's striking. And you go in and you see that photo is from 45 years ago and there's a dead realtor on the couch. And you're like, shit, I can't buy this. Don't let that be you. Make sure you earn enough to invest. So with that being said, so we have face-to-face. Number 2, we have networking events. When I say networking, I don't just mean like these whatever networking events. All I mean is have a life outside of real estate. Have a place, whether it's yoga, whether it's cooking clubs, whether it's pickleball. Have interests. Be an interesting person. Have things going on every week, every day. Because then you're not just living to work, you're living and you're making an income at the same time, and it's so much more fun. When you choose to only do the things that you enjoy, and that starts making you money, it's so much better. For example, when I started, I was doing all these things I did not enjoy. I was door knocking. I was doing a million cold calls. I was going to church groups and events and things I'm really not even that privy to because I wanted to grow my business. And I was so much more focused on that than anything else, rather than when I said, I'm going to do my hobbies and my interests, and then I'm going to allow that to generate business for me. That's when it became enjoyable. Because when you find yourself saying, this job kind of sucks, you have to start thinking, well, what are you doing? What are you doing for this job? Where's that business even coming from? Make sense? Makes sense, right? Cool. All right, so face-to-face, networking events. Okay. This is optional, but highly, highly recommended. Every single person should have at minimum, 2 events they host every single year. I don't care what it is. Ideally, it's charity related, just because it's easy to invite people to. But here's the thing. When you meet somebody new and you want to invite them to be a part of your database, your SOI. Let's say I meet David. We're in line at Starbucks, and I say, David, that's a nice shirt. And David says,
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I can't just be like, hey, David, I'm a real estate broker, and I have a list of people, and I want you to be in that list. What do you say? It's probably good just to be like, oh, that's okay, thank you, though. No, but no, thank you. Rather than, let's say you strike up a conversation with David and I say, David, where'd you get those shoes? Those are nice. And he says, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, where'd you get those shoes? And I say, the ABC store. And he's like, oh, cool, yeah, whatever. And then I say, you know what? I host beach cleanups, charity events every week. You seem like a great dude. I don't know if you're busy, but in 2 weeks I'm hosting one. Would love to have you. And most people in those situations, even if they don't plan on going, what are they going to say? When you invite somebody, and I say, Autumn, I want to help better the world, and I want your help with this.
Yes.
You can't, you're not just going to be like, no. I want to make the beach dirtier. I'm not into that. They're just going to be like, yeah, sure. And be like, cool, I'll send you a text. What's your number? And then guess what? Who's the host of this beach cleanup? Your real estate company is. Oh, you're a real estate agent. Yeah. Oh, well, you know what? I was actually thinking about buying a house. And now, what ends up happening is you're meeting all these people, you're inviting them to the charity events, you're doing good things, and people are asking you to help them. So instead of always just saying, do you want to buy a house? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to sell a house? Here's how much your house is worth. Hey, here's some direct mail. Do you want to buy a house, Lexi? You're just like, no, dude, I don't. You're doing all these great activities, and then they're coming to you. Because when buyers, especially affluent buyers, when they choose a company or somebody to work with or represent them, it's just like when you go to the grocery store and you want to buy a coconut water. And the coconut water in a plastic bottle is $2.50. And then the same exact size coconut water is in a cardboard container, and it's $2.75. Many, many affluent people will say, you know what? I want to do the right thing, because this one says this is better for the environment, I'll pay the extra quarter. They choose that option. And so we need to brand your business, brand yourselves as the good option. Not the cheapest, not the best, because everybody's trying to compete for that space. The good option, the right option. And when you position yourself in a market like that, guess what ends up happening? It becomes more organic. It becomes easier. You're not fighting them on commission because, no, this company does the right thing. They're the right option. I know it's a little bit more, but I'm willing to spend it. And if you're going after trying to have a good price point, you're trying to work with affluent buyers, affluent sellers, they aren't thinking, I want the cheapest nitty-gritty realtor that will, whoever's going to give me the lowest possible commission, I'm going to work with them. They're not typically thinking that. Sometimes, but for the most part, no. That was step 3 out of 15. All right, so we covered face-to-face, we covered networking, we covered events. All right, here's the next one. I'm just going to say it, but none of you guys are going to do it. Just call them quarterly. Your SOI, just call them once a quarter. Every 90 days, just call them. I don't care what you say. Don't care. You could just call them and be like, hey, good to see you. Just want to say hi. That was it. Nothing else. I got to go. Doesn't matter. Just call them. Send them texts on the holidays, on their birthday, on the anniversary that they bought a house. Just get on the phone with them, and you will grow your business. Now, if you want to get fancy, you want to really deep dive into this thing, you should be sending weekly email marketing newsletters. Don't care what it is, just send it. That's all I have to say about that. You should be sending monthly direct mail pieces. Again, I don't care what it is, something. Just get it out. Just make a rule. Don't even look at the copy. Don't even look at the average. Just send it. It could literally be, guys, I actually once, as a direct mail campaign to all of Montequilo, 5,000 homes in Montequilo, I sent I think it was a 6.5 by 11. So it was this long, and it's about that wide. I once sent a postcard. You know what was on the entire thing? My face. My whole face was the only brand.
How was it?
It was great. I got like 2 calls. They're like, why are you sending me a picture of your face? And I was like, oh, I thought it was great advertising. Did you like it? And they're like, well, yeah, that's exactly right. And they're like, well, have you had thoughts about selling? What's going on? They're like, well, yeah, but next year. Like, okay, can we check in next year? They're like, sure, why not? It doesn't matter what you send. Just send it. As you build the consistency around your business and learn this, we can work on fine-tuning these procedures. All right, here's the very last one for SOI. I gave you guys a little bit more than you needed. You have to just write this one thing down, please. Just write down the word e-alerts, electronic alerts, e-alerts. I've told this story a million times. There was this guy in my database named Jason. Apparently, I spoke to Jason at one point in time, like 7 years ago now. No idea who he was. Don't even remember him. Wasn't saved in my phone contact list, that's for sure. And apparently, 7 years ago, I set Jason up to receive e-alerts once a week. Little did I know, I could have looked, but I didn't. Jason opened those e-alerts. Like every few months, he would look at a few properties, and that was about it. And then one day, I get a call just like that. And Jason goes, hey, Devin, sorry I haven't been responding to your emails. There was about maybe 2,000 by at that point that I've sent, 2,000 emails and texts. I was like, oh, that's fine. Better late than never. What's going on? Dude, no idea who this guy is. All I know is he knows me, and I don't want to say I don't know you. It's like, oh, what's going on? Of course, don't even worry about it. You're busy. I totally get it. Jason goes, well, you sent me that property in Waikele. At the time, it was probably like $450,000, $500,000. I want to make a cash offer. Is that okay? And I was like, yeah, that's totally fine. That's not a problem. I'm not going to argue with you. But I didn't say that. I was like, yeah, of course. Can we go take a look at it first, just so you can see it in person? And he goes, oh, yeah, maybe that's a good idea. And so I set an appointment. I go see the property with Jason. Jason confirms he does want to write an offer. And we wrote a cash offer, full price, 30-day closing, done. I have never, he thinks I've spoken to him. I think he's spoken to another broker and just didn't remember. I don't care, it doesn't matter. He was on my email list. All I did at one point in time was I probably spent 1 minute setting him up on e-alerts. That's it. That were relevant to what he was looking for. Whether he sent me an email and asked for it, I don't even know. I couldn't find it. And then he was consistently getting branded emails from me with relevant property information. Does everybody understand that? Branded emails from me with relevant property information. Let's break that down. Branded, meaning it has all of my information and phone number. Branded from me. It doesn't say Zillow or Redfin. Because if he was to go on Redfin and click the button and call that agent, I promise you that agent would not have said, oh, you were talking to Devin? Oh, you better call him. You better be loyal. They don't say that. If you think they say that, I promise you they don't. And so branded with my information, so when he calls, he gets me. Relevant. If you get a buyer and they're looking for properties in Kaneohe, and you start sending properties in Waianae, on North Shore, in Waikiki, doesn't matter, they will just unsubscribe or delete it. They do not care. There's no difference. If you have a buyer looking in Kaneohe and you're sending him properties in Waikiki, you may as well send properties in Connecticut. It makes no difference to them because either way it's irrelevant. And so what we have to do is we need to position ourselves in a way where you are the source of all of the relevant information. And here is my challenge with MLS. And this is why you need to have some type of branded website. This is why our company provides a branded website for every single agent. Because we know, for example, let's say, Andrea, let's say you go on, you're a realtor and I'm a buyer. You go on MLS and you set up property alerts for me to look at. And then let's say I am going to designate 1 hour to look at homes tonight. I say, okay, you know what, between 8 and 9, I'm just going to look at all these properties online. And then let's say I see, Andrea sent me 10 homes. Let's say I spend 10 minutes looking at properties that she sent through MLS, through High Central, just so you guys understand. What am I going to do after I look at those 10 properties? As a consumer, what am I going to do? Come on. Well, thank you, Al. I want to look at more houses. But the thing about MLS is it a search portal or is it a feed from the agent? Is it a direct feed or a search portal? It's a feed. So when you go on MLS, as a consumer, as a buyer, and you look at the properties your agent sent you, what do you start thinking? Are there really only 10 homes for sale? Because it doesn't show you everything else. You can't look at everything else. So then what's going to happen? Where are you going to go? Probably going to go to Redfin or Zillow. Both are great websites. You cannot take that away from them. If you argue that, then you're kind of arguing against the point. So you are going to say, I want to look at more houses. I want to see what's out there. I want to explore. And then you're going to go on Redfin, and then you're going to see a little advertisement that says, hey, if you buy with us, it'll cost you $2,500 less. No out-of-pocket fees. And you as a buyer, you don't know anything. You're brand new to this. You're like, oh, that sounds pretty good. And then you go to Wahoo RE, and they say, hey, you buy with us, we're going to give you $10,000 in a closing credit. And then you're like, oh, that sounds even better. You have forgotten who Andrea is. You have no idea who that, you're like, I don't know, but all I know is over here, this world seems way better. So we, again, positioning. And the whole point of this, because if you do it this way, it's going to be easy. Easy in the sense that you kind of have to learn a little bit and implement the right strategies, but it's not going to take hours and hours and hours and hours every single day. You're not going to have to do all this work. You're not going to have to fight uphill. You're just kind of like building yourself up on a platform, and every time you kick a stone, it just rolls on down to a closing. And so instead of always having to, if you feel like every deal you're fighting for, it's because you're not implementing the strategies to have enough business. And so what you need to do is you need to set these things up so you have the right strategies, because it becomes a lot easier. It's literally the difference between, if you're going to dig a hole that's 5 feet, it's going to be a lot easier with a spade than it is with your hands. It's going to be a lot easier with a shovel than it is with a spade, and it's going to be a lot easier with a bulldozer than a shovel. And eventually, when you get really smart, you can learn that you can just pay somebody else to bulldoze it all for you, and you just got the hole. Now, it costs a little bit of money, and you have to have the resources, but when you build these strategies in place, it's a lot easier to close deals, and the business comes to you instead of you having to chase it. Now, there is work in the beginning. You have to spend the time to do it, but I promise you, it's that saying, it's like, if I have 5 hours to chop down a tree, I'm going to spend the first 3 hours sharpening my axe. That is what this is. Sharpen the axe before you start swinging the axe. Okay, so that is the strategy for your sphere of influence. One of the 4 sources of your business. All right, we've got 5 minutes. And we have 3 more of those to do. Okay. All right, who here has another lead source that you want us to go over? We're going to go deep dive into one more. Doesn't matter. FSBOs, for sale by owners. Awesome. Thank you, Garrett. Who here has called a for sale by owner? I have. Texted? Okay, well, that's a start. Better than nothing. We'll take it. They'll take it. What is a for sale by owner, Gary? Summer.
Cheap.
All right, okay. Whoa. All right, hold on. I challenge that. I don't think they are. I think that they are perfectly reasonable. With the knowledge they have, it kind of seems like the best course of action. If they're witted and they know how to work this and they understand the process and things, there's nothing wrong with selling at your house. So we have to first we got to remove the belief of what they are. They're doing the best they can with the best resources they have available. That is it. We need to position ourselves as a better option. And there's strategies to do that. Who knows what they are? All of us. Got it. Okay. So, for sale by owners, here's what I recommend. Here's what I used to do very, very successfully. I've probably sold maybe 35, 40 of them in my career. Not like a ton, but enough. First, know this. Write this down. You just have to start the conversation. You're never going to get a listing unless you talk to them. And so, the number one hurdle in for sale by owners is not the FSBO. It's not the person. It's not the seller. It's typically the agent. The agent typically doesn't have enough conversations with them to build enough trust, to provide enough value, to demonstrate that they have the know-how, the resources, the ability to get their home sold for them. So it starts with a conversation. And here is how that conversation does not sound. It does not sound like you calling them, saying, hey Lex, my name is Devin Tryon. I'm a local real estate broker. I'm calling for the job to sell your home. I'd like to sell your home. Me. What it needs to be is the opposite. Hey Gary, I saw your place came up the other day. Really nice listing. I had a few questions about it. Can you tell me more? Sure, go ahead. Yeah. I love the kitchen. It looks like you guys did some really good job on those upgrades. When was that done? Oh, we did blah, blah, blah. And you're going to spend the next 5 minutes just talking story, asking them about the house. That's it. And then you're going to ask, you're going to say, I work this area a lot. I like to know the market and what comes in and out. I'm going to be up the road tomorrow. Can I stop by and see it? Or do you have an open house that I could swing through? And then you're going to get a couple responses. 75% of the time, they're just going to say, yeah, sure. Yeah, come on over. No problem. They want to sell it. 25% of the time, you're going to get an objection. It's going to sound like this. Well, I'm not working with buyer's agents. Buyers have to pay their own commission. In which case, the answer we say to our response is always what? Okay, thanks for letting me know. I appreciate that. That's it. We're not here to argue with them. We're not on the phone to get a listing. You're never going to get the listing on the phone. Maybe if it's out of state, but even then that's tough. Then you're going to go see it. You're going to go see the house. And guess what? You're going to walk into this listing. And again, I don't care where or what this listing is. What is this listing going to be? This is going to be the nicest house you have ever seen in your life. You're going to walk into this studio and you're going to be amazed. You're going to say, Gary, this is great. I didn't realize it was this nice. Give me the grand tour. And you're going to be sitting in a room the size of this table. I don't care if it's a parking stall. You're going to be like, this is the nicest parking stall I've ever seen. Give me the grand tour. And they're going to be like, well, okay. And this is where you park your car. It's got a high ceiling. You're like, I know you can park a truck here. You can fit a van. This is great. Usually they're so low. And they're like, yeah, that's a good point. I like that. And then you're going to spend the next 20 minutes just talking to them about the property, where they're planning to go, learning what their motivation is. And that's a key one. Learning what their motivation is. Because some of them, many of them, are not motivated enough yet to list with a real estate broker. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with trying to sell yourself. I admire it. Imagine if other professions treated FSBOs the way we treat them. Because what is a FSBO really trying to do? What profession are they trying to be? A real estate agent. Yeah, they're trying to be their own real estate agent without a license. Nothing illegal against it. And so imagine if you're a general contractor and you walk into a house and somebody tried to build it themselves. And let's say they did an okay job, wasn't bad. Are you, as a general contractor, and they're there because they think they might need some help, maybe, maybe not. Are you going to sit there and tell them that they're doing such a bad job as a GC that they should never try to do this again? Probably not. It'd be kind of rude, but that's how agents treat them. Remember, this is a person with a family, with goals, that are trying the best with the resources they have available. And if you make them feel wrong or bad, you are never going to get that listing. They will never hire you. Instead, we need to tell them how good of a job they're doing. In fact, you should even invite them to join your company because it is so nice. And now they're going to do what you just did, Al, which is they're probably going to give you a laugh. And they know the photos aren't professional. They know they don't have drone photos. They know they don't have a surveyor or a pre-home inspector. They know all of this. It's not a surprise. But you're going to find the things they do well. And you're going to tell them how well they did. And then you're going to ask this question. Write it down. Melody, how long are you willing to try and sell it yourself before you'll consider hiring a broker like me? How long are you going to try and sell it yourself before you'd even think about hiring a broker? 6 months. Cool. Not bad. Then we're going to take their answer. And we're going to kind of compare that answer to what? So they're going to say 6 months, and then they also told us another bit of information, their motivation. Because if they say 6 months, and then they also told you that they're military and they're moving off island and they're leaving in 2 weeks, we know there's a bit of a mismatch. And so now we have to put 2 and 2 together in a nice way. And one, just say, okay, I understand. Well, when that time comes, I love your home. I think it's amazing. This, and you're going to point out all the features you know that they probably also appreciate. And then you're going to tell them, when the time comes, I'd love to apply for the job. I know we could do such a good job. And then you're going to show how excited you are about working with them in their home. Yeah, because we could do this, and we could have this, and I'm just imagining the very first photo. We'd stick a drone about 50 feet up, and then you can see not only the front yard, the house with the new roof that you redid, and the backyard, and the ocean view. It's like you can see everything all at once. And now that seller is going to start thinking, oh yeah, it's not a bad idea. Huh, I can do that. And they probably won't, and that's okay. And if they take it and do it themselves, whatever. It's not about that. Okay, that's step one. So you have to have a conversation with them. Step two. All right, last one. When the time comes for you to interview for the position to be their real estate broker, you're going to schedule a listing appointment. First, you're going to ask the question, how long before you consider thinking about hiring a broker like me? How long will you sell? And then as the time goes on, you're going to maybe call them a day, a week, whatever later, and you're going to say, hey, Autumn, I was just looking at your house again, and I love the blah, blah, blah. Question. Would you consider interviewing me for the job of selling the house right now? Not asking to sign anything, but I'd love to show you how we could really help you get this done. 20 minutes. No harm. And they say, blah, blah, blah. And then you say, well, there's no harm in talking, right? Well, I guess not. And it's just a conversation. I promise I won't even ask you to sign anything. Is that okay? Yeah, sure, why not? And then you're going to go over and you're going to deliver a killer listing presentation. You're going to show them, you're going to deliver such a good listing presentation that they're going to stand up and start clapping when you're done. They're going to give you a standing ovation for how good it was. And then they're going to agree to sign, and you're going to sell it, and you're going to get a 5-star review and 2 referrals. And they might even write a referral that says this. Ryan was so amazing. I was originally trying to sell it myself, but I had such a hard time, and then Ryan showed up and solved all of my problems. Even my marriage came back together because Ryan was so amazing. That's how good he was. And then your next for sale by owner appointment, what are you going to bring with you? You're going to bring Ryan's testimony. Oh yeah. Be like, here's what another FSBO said about me. Leave that there. And you just, before you leave, you just leave it on the counter. You don't even say anything, you just leave it there. It's in your package. Did that answer your question, Gary? It's a good start. It's a good place to start, right? Okay, cool. All right, everybody. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
I'll see you next week.